In this video, I'll be going over the steps I took to make this middle lock section of the Jakobs Loot Chest. If you haven't seen them already, don't forget to check out the last 3 videos in this series. I started with a battery box and green LEDs. I then made a paper template to come up with a good size. For the center, I'm using a jar lid and sculpting a keyhole out of polymer clay. For the dial, I'm using a piece of conduit and a paint lid. Traced my template onto some plywood and again onto 3 pallet palings. On one of the palings, I marked out an area for the battery box to fit into. I then cut a channel with the rotary tool for the wires to run through, and this gets sandwiched between 2 of the palings. Here you can see the on-off switch protruding just enough. I then used the hole saw to drill into the top, creating holes for the 32mm conduit to slide into. I'm also using 3 couplings for the larger diameter that holds the lights. For this, I'm cutting a rectangle in the coupling and a slit in the conduit. For the lights, I coiled the LEDs into some tiny glass jars, then realised I should add some green paint to the inside so they still look the part when it's turned off. I then used 2 hole saw bits at once to create these wooden rings that sit on either side of the couplings. I originally had a locator pin and some magnets to hold the jar lid in place, but it did not end up sitting flat enough, so I came up with a different idea. New lid, added a spacer, and created this twist lock thing. Now it's on nice and solid, and I can still access the batteries. I glued the rings to each other before sliding them onto the conduit to keep them all in line. I sculpted this little piece and carved these 2 pieces, glued everything together, and it's starting to look like something. For the trim and the line details, I used 2 different gauge automotive electrical wires. I wrapped the thicker wire around the borders. I don't think I've ever used super glue without sticking my fingers together, and used the thinner wire for the diagonal details. I then went in with a thick grey undercoat and a white undercoat wherever the gold will be, then added a couple of coats of gold and silver paint. Finally, I can go in with my favourite step and add all the black detail lines. That's it for part 4. I will hopefully have the latches video up within the week. They are still not quite finished, but they are getting very close.